Go figure. As soon as I go live, George is like, screw you. Anyways. Hello, Simon. This is a stream for just you and me and Chadia when she shows up. Yeah, for everyone else that may be tuning in after the fact or now, this is going to be a quasi discussion on The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. We read this for, what month is it? April? So we read it in March. This was Kai's pick, and it's, as you can see, it's pretty short. And there was a TV adaptation of this book. I've not yet watched it, but I am glad that I read this book. I'm glad that it won the pick for the book club, and I'm glad that I stuck with it with Simon's encouragement, because he dusted all of us. Because it's worth it. It initially took some time to get into, but by the end, even before the end, I found so much catharsis in Beth's character, in our protagonist, and even though I'm not a fan of, well, I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I am not a chess aficionado. I barely know what the little pieces are and what they do. So I'm not like a chess fiend. So the fact that this revolves around chess and is descriptions of the game and moves and stuff like that, Walter Tevis makes it so compelling and thematically appropriate for what's going on in the lives of the characters, in Beth's case, as well as the secondary characters. Secondary, tertiary characters. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, to, not bury the lead, as I'm using that phrase correctly. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars, I think. Maybe even 5 stars. But I can see why people love it, and I loved it as well. It's one of those books that doesn't really have an ending, so to speak. It's just a character study, in my opinion, which can either work or not work. In this particular case, obviously, it worked, at least for me. So, looking at the chat. Sorry. Hi, Simon. Hi, Tharnal. Simon has not watched it either. Tharnal watched the TV show, but I want to know if it's worth reading. TLDR, yes, I think it's worth reading. Simon has not read the has not seen the series, so can't say if the book has anything, but it was a good book. Yes, I agree. What made it a 5-ish star book, Evie? It's true, Anitha. I do rate books out of 4.5 stars. That's funny. Hi, Chadia. So yeah, what makes it a 5-ish star book? Like I said, I think this is a really good, like, character-led, character-focused book. It follows Beth Harmon. She is an orphan, and she winds up becoming, like, she's a chess prodigy. And the way that this starts off, it's borderline triggering, if not outright triggering. You are introduced to Beth when she is a child at the orphanage. And there is assault of Beth's character that is incredibly, I'll just put it very lightly. There's assault of Beth's character that is, in that moment, very, very difficult to read. I mean, as it should be. And the silver lining is that it's just that moment. It's not something that is a continuation past that chapter, but it's predatory in nature. And it was just really, really uncomfortable to read. And again, Beth was a child at the time. On the flip side, the predator character was also a child. So it makes it even more uncomfortable somehow. So I genuinely thought I was going to have to DNF it at that point, but Simon encouraged me to continue, so I did. But yeah, but to answer the question, what makes it a 5-star book? I actually do think Walter Tevis writes Beth's character. He writes her in such a real way. Like, he is a man who can write women, apparently, because I did feel that Beth was so incredibly realistic to at least my experience. Mind you, I'm not a chess prodigy in any way, shape, or form. And the actual like things that happen to Beth are not like a one-to-one, but the way that she handles her situations in life, the internal monologues that she has, her reactions to things are incredibly realistic, at least for me. And I just thought that was really, really cool. Again, I think I mentioned it before, is that even though I'm not into chess, the way that Walter Tevis writes the chess games themselves, and it makes the character moments and the development of our characters, of Beth as well as, characters around her, makes it in conversation with the chess game that's being portrayed on the page, was just really, really, really interesting. It was really compelling, made the game itself compelling, made the characters compelling, and what they were going through compelling, and made me incredibly invested. Walter Tevis tackles a lot of heavier things through Beth's character and in this book that I think can be harrowing to some people. I think if it had been written today, it would have been, an author would have gone overboard with the horrible things that are happening. But because it's such a short book, Walter Tevis, again, I think this was written in the 80s or something, but Walter Tevis, he's kind of almost clinical in a way in his depictions of these horrible things that are happening. And he doesn't dwell on them. He doesn't dwell on them as an author, as a writer, and subsequently makes it to where our main character, Beth, can't dwell on it as well. We have to get her from one thing to another. The whole like conceit of the book, whatever that phrase is, the whole premise of this book is following Beth as this orphan child prodigy, and how she becomes essentially this, what's it called, grandmaster in chess. And so you kind of know the end of the book, but it's really what happens, the journey to get there. Not to give Sanderson credit, but journey before destination, am I right? And it was just really, really compelling. And I like that. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with saying it's compelling, but whatever. That is what made it a 5-ish star book for me. And I'm very, very excited to read more from Walter Tevis. I will say that. So, sorry, going back to chat here. Hi, Alicia. It was such a horrid. Oh my god, it was such a horrid childhood. How deep does it go into explaining the chess matches? Surprisingly deep, like individual move, to the point of individual moves. Again, as someone who only vaguely knows like where each individual piece goes, apparently in chess there are like moves that are like named after like chess masters, and they're like maneuvers that are done a la like a battle or something. And they're described as those like named moves. What was one of them? I can't remember what was one of the names, but like opening moves and stuff like that. And it was, X type of maneuver. But the title, the Queen's Gambit, is a type of move in chess, apparently. And I really liked whenever there was like the title drop throughout this book, I kind of like highlighted it and be like, oh, title drop, it's fine. And it really made me focus in on those scenes when there was the mention or the maneuver or the use of the Queen's Gambit in the game, or mention of it in conversations. But yeah, it does go into incredible detail about the chess matches. Again, the way that Walter Tevis writes the chess matches, it's not just about the game being played, it's about the things going on with our characters in the midst of the game and outside of the game as well. Walter Tevis actually writes, at least at the beginning of the version I have, the author's note, he talks about like getting advice from chess grandmasters. He says, since the Queen's Gambit is a work of fiction, however, it seems prudent to omit them from the cast of characters, if only for contradiction of the record, because he was obsessed with some grandmasters. He wanted to express some thanks to some different people who helped him with the moves and the rules and stuff like that when it comes to chess. And there was some sort of note here of like, essentially, if he got anything wrong, it was his fault. I could have swore I read that. I don't know. I could be just making that up. It's fine. We can do spoilers in a moment. Just let me get through here. This isn't a book about chess. It's a book about Beth. That is incredibly, incredibly accurate. That is a way to describe it better than I could ever. Much more succinct and to the point. Third and all, I used to be chess club president in 3 schools back in the day, so this might be something made for me. Maybe. That's cool. And if you already love the show, hopefully that is an indicator that you would love the book. Yeah, Chadia, since you're here, what did you rate the book? Simon, what did you rate the book? I know you don't do ratings, Simon, but what if you did, what would you rate the book? I'm curious. I will count down to 10, and then we can just get to spoilers. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, spoilers. We're doing spoilers now. So Simon, go ham. Chadia gave it 4 stars, by the way. I'm sure Simon gave it like 5 stars. But yeah, so let's go into spoilers. So, like I said, this book pretty much in the opening chapter, well, actually, yeah, it is in the opening chapter. There's an incredibly triggering scene that almost made me DNF it. I wanted to DNF it, but Simon gave me some assurance that is a momentary scene, and that is the worst that happens, at least when it comes to that type of thing. So the child-on-child assault was, I mean, assault of a child in any way, shape, or form is horrible and awful and disgusting. Somehow making it to where another child is a predator somehow makes something that's horrible and awful even worse. And I could not get over that. I didn't think I was going to be able to get over that. I still haven't, because I'm still horrified by it. And this happens in the orphanage. So, like I said, Beth is an orphan. She's in this orphanage with these other children. And she's 8, 9 years old, and she's being taken advantage of by this slightly older girl. I think she's 11 or 12 at the time. And it's just incredibly uncomfortable. It's this like religious orphanage, so they have to go to school within and go to mass and stuff like that. And somehow outside of that, she gets introduced because she gets in trouble for something. She has to clean the erasers, and I think because of that she gets introduced to the janitor, or at least she sees him playing chess, and she just watches him play chess, and she learns just by watching. And the janitor recognizes her essentially genius when it comes to chess, and he takes her to, or he introduces her to a chess club, and that just kind of starts everything. And then when Beth gets adopted out, just the advantages that even her adopted mother takes of her, and the neglect that she faces from her adopted mother because of her capabilities and abilities when it comes to chess. It was this poor girl. She never had a chance to be a child because her adopted mother was just shipping her off or taking her around to various chess tournaments to make more money. And I don't know, it's just this poor Beth, and she's got obviously a drug problem, and a drinking problem, and her adopted mother has some sort of problems. And it's just so, I don't know, all of that, in combination with the chess games, was, I don't know how Walter Tevis did it, how he was able to parallel these things going on with the chess game that was being played, or chess games that were being played at each tournament and stuff like that. So, yeah, sorry, hold on. It's a very good book. Put it second on my favorite Leguan books read last year. Oh, nice. Or last month. Nice. Hi, Mark. We are getting into spoilers. I'm sorry. Simon, what do you think of her mom? I thought the comparison there with pills and drinking was interesting. Yeah, so, the numbing of yourself with the pills and the drinking, taking basically tranquilizer. Well, there is no basically, they are tranquilizers. Taking the tranquilizers to deal with numbing of pain, whether it's physical or mental or emotional, was it actually made me feel bad for the mother, for Mrs. Wheatley. And the fact that Mrs. Wheatley, so they adopt Beth as a husband and wife, and then the husband immediately leaves, and we never see him again. And it was obviously until towards the end. And that just made me, there's obviously even more under the surface for Mrs. Wheatley on why she's self-medicating and trying to truly numb whatever is going on in her life. And the fact that she doesn't have, that she wants to adopt this child, adopt Beth, but she truly doesn't even have the money to take care of this child. So she relies on Beth's winnings and Beth to be the bread maker, essentially. And she takes her out of school, in order to just go to tournaments and make money and fund her own stuff. Not even fund her own stuff, but like she charges Beth. I remember she charged Beth like, oh, take this into account. The hotel costs this, the dinner costs this, so take it out of your winnings so that you can basically pay it back or whatever. That was just horrible. And then at the same time, like, Mrs. Wheatley has nothing. Like, at the time in which this was taking place, which was the late 50s, early 60s, like, women didn't have a lot of capabilities. Like, Mrs. Wheatley doesn't have a job because she's technically married and her husband is the one that has the job. She can't, get a credit card. She can't get a loan for anything. But at the same time, she's relying on her underage adopted daughter in order to live and have some sort of sustenance. I thought that was just really, really interesting. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Jolene is her friend. Isn't Alma also supporting Beth's dream of being a chess grandmaster? Remind me who Alma is. I'm blanking. Alma. Is that Mrs. Deerdorf? No, that wasn't Mrs. Deerdorf. I don't know. Mr. Shable, though, was great. She was definitely the mother in the relationship, and that's honestly part of the reason why I felt this was one thing with Beth. I felt incredibly. Not only did Beth seem like an incredibly realistic character in the way that she reacted to things going on in her life, but the fact that Beth was the mother, essentially, that felt incredibly cathartic to me in a weird way. Sorry if you hear the dog barking. Simon, do you think chess is itself a form of addiction for Beth, a substitute obsession for addiction? Absolutely. And, I think that applies to really anything and everything. Like, Beth sees her self-worth in chess, and it's the thing that she's good at, the thing that people notice her for, the thing that makes her money, the thing that drives her and compels her and is just consuming of her. And she wants to become a grandmaster, and once she gets that, she doesn't know what to do anymore with her life by the end. Mitch, I disagree. I think you missed seeing the forest through the trees in this book that I've definitely read. Yes, you definitely read this one. Chadia, did you think the husband was real? I thought they just used a man for the adoption. I think he was real because, there was the whole debacle with the house and him signing that over to Beth after Mrs. Wheatley dies, which that's a whole other thing, like whole other scene that kind of was really, 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 not even kind of, it was really sad when Beth is at the tournament and she's going out, and then Mrs. Wheatley dies. Like, she is sick, and then all of a sudden she dies the next day while Beth is at the tournament. And the Mr. Wheatley is just so callous and cruel and cold. And that was just awful for everyone involved. But then the fact that Alma Wheatley, that's what it was. I remembered her name, sorry. But then that gives Beth the opportunity to find herself, and the fact that she buys the house, she moves from New York to Kentucky officially, and she takes over the house. But then she's reintroduced to Jolene, and Jolene is the one that kind of like helps her get back on her feet, so to speak, by being, cleaning the house and everything like that. Oh wait, hold on. In the end, it was her real husband, but before her adopted mother died, I thought she may. Oh, got it. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, her love life, Beth's love life, if that's who you're referring to, Beth's love life is incredibly messed up. I did, speaking of Beth's love life, we're just gonna be all over the place. The depiction of, like, Beth's, like, essentially her, not even just sexuality, but, like, what's the word? I don't know. She gets her first period during a tournament, but then right before that, she's like in love. Like, she doesn't understand this reaction that she's physically having to this very attractive man. And I just thought that was a really interesting parallel of, of female sexuality and putting that against chess. And I don't know, I just really like that. And then she, again, I like the way that Walter Tevis depicts Beth as a girl, and then as a young woman, and as a woman as a whole. Like, she is incredibly complex and nuanced and realistic. Like, he's not putting her on some sort of pedestal. He's not making, it's not like a little life situation where it's just trauma after trauma after trauma. It's a very realistic reaction to the bad things that are happening in her life, and good things as well. I don't know if that makes sense. Unfortunately, she did not. Well, did she? I mean, not to the level of Dennis Reynolds, Mitch, but she was definitely, free with herself, as she should be, dadgummit. But, oh, sorry, hold on, wrong button. Beth doesn't have a love life, she has sex, but it's always been exploited. Yeah. She, except for that, obviously the first one, like, I would argue she is not exploited. I mean, she's exploited in general, regardless. She's exploited by Jolene when she's a child. She's exploited by Mrs. Wheatley with the chess stuff. She's exploited. Who else? Who was it? Who was that character? Oh my god. I can't remember the name of the character, but she is exploited in general. But the fact that she essentially takes that power back, I thought that was really really amazing. Characters that I really loved, Mr. Shable. He was great. And yes, she exploits the men too. So it's equal opportunity, give and take, as it were. Chadia, I liked how Beth never felt like she couldn't do some things because she was a woman. Exactly. There are ups and downs. Her wins feel impactful. And then the young chess guy she sleeps with takes advantage of her. She was willing, but wasn't in a good situation, though. Which young chess guy? Because there were multiple, let's be honest. If you're talking about Benny, is that his name, Benny? Initially, that was, like, not even exploitative or taking advantage. Like, I think they just happened to be conveniently around each other. Yeah, I think she went into it. Oh wait, what? It was Benny. Okay. She went into her sexual situations willingly, obviously, except for that first one. I don't think there was any sort of assault or coercion involved. She knew what she was doing, and by the end, she was actively pursuing those pairings, so to speak. What was the other thing? There was... Oh, yeah, sorry. Hold on. Yeah, the whole, like, premise of this thing is that Beth wants to be a grandmaster. And she wins all these tournaments in the US, and then she's working towards playing in Russia. But she goes to Paris, and I think if I remember correctly, she loses that one. And so she has this sense of this sense of inadequacy because she's won so many times, and she finally loses. She's knocked down a peg. And I just thought it was really interesting that at the end, the whole depiction of the game between her and, what was his name, Gorchev or something? Was that his name? No, it wasn't Gorchev. Borgov? Was it Borgov? I think it was Borgov. Whatever the final guy's name was, but this depiction where Beth is in Russia, she doesn't know Russian. She's being sent with this guy from the federal government who runs off and does his own thing. Borgov. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm not losing it quite yet. But the imagery of Borgov getting, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's getting help from other people around him, the other chess masters. And Beth has no one. So you have this man who is significantly older than Beth, who is getting the communal help of masters around him, other Russian chess masters. And you have Beth, who's by herself trying to figure out what's going on. And I truly felt some anxiety, and there was a weight on my chest as I was reading. So when she gets the phone call from Benny, and that Benny and a bunch of other people that they knew for chess were working on this like final play, and help being her community behind her, it was so exciting to read that scene when she finally gets that call. And then at the end, when she's actually when they're making the call, she kind of like not even forgets, but like she's just playing on instinct back to how she played when she originally started, when she was younger, just playing on instinct rather than, hey, Max, stop it. I don't know what you're eating, but whatever. It's just this parallel and like full circle moment where Beth is playing on instinct, how she started playing chess. Like, she didn't learn the technicalities of chess when she first started, and she's going back to that instinct of it, and going back to her youth when she was playing chess. And the idea that she just wants to win. I have it underlined here where a draw, however, was not a win, and the one thing in her life that she was sure she loved was a win. She looked at Borgov's face again and saw with mild surprise that he was tired. She shook her head no. So, like, Borgov wants to, like, hey, I'll do a draw, and she's like, nope, we're gonna do this. And I just thought, like, the aggressive nature of Beth's character, culminating in this final match, was just really, really cathartic. Like, she was borderline vicious in her gameplay in general, but especially so in this final match. And she's not going to take no for an answer. She's not going to take a draw, or she's not going to take a draw. She wants to win or lose as needed. And yeah, it's she gets the phone call, draw. Where was it at? Yeah, and then just it ends that she goes back to just playing someone on a park bench who doesn't know who she is. And she's reached the top, and now she can just play for the love of chess rather than for achieving something. I thought that was a really, really appropriate ending. I wouldn't say perfect, but I would say it's an appropriate ending, which is honestly why it probably didn't get 5 stars from me. It didn't feel like a perfect ending. It just felt like appropriate for Beth's character and what Walter Tevis was going for, which you could argue that's the whole point. Why not give it 5 stars? But whatever. Anyways, I am ignoring the chat, and that's not intentional. Simon, he loses interest when she beats him. He does come through at the end, sort of, but I did not like him. Yeah, so that's true. I don't know what else to say. Like, this is it. This is the problem that I have in general with reading, and then like with book clubs and stuff like that, is I'm a very thematic reader. I'm not a plot. I shouldn't say that I'm not a plot-driven reader. Like, obviously, we all read for plot and for characters, no matter whether we say that we're plot-driven or character-driven readers. But I am the type of person who, rather than the things that are happening on the page of like, oh, this was exciting, or oh, this was really sad, or whatever, like it was exciting or sad because of, like, for a character or because of this thing. I'm an emotionally driven reader. Like, how a book makes me feel, how characters make me feel is why I read, and what really drives my reading and my reaction to things. And I'm gonna be brutally honest, my ability to convey that at all, let alone accurately, appropriately, what have you, I really struggle with that. So this is why I'm always hemming and hawing and kind of caveating things of like, does that make sense? But yeah, I don't know. I really liked, to boil it down when it comes to this book, I really liked how this book made me feel, even though it made me feel uncomfortable at many, many points and to varying degrees of discomfort. Yeah, and I will read more Walter Tevis. The next one that I have, or the one that I have is, oh my god, what's it called? Mockingbird. Mockingbird? Yes, Mockingbird, because Mockingjay is Hunger Games. Mockingbird. So that is the next Walter Tevis I will read. So, thanks, Simon. You know, I'll Venmo you $20 later for, you know, I paid you to say that. It's fine. You too, Chadia. I'll Venmo you later for agreeing. I appreciate it. But yeah, so I don't really have anything else other than that. Yeah, next month's book, and by next month I mean April's book, is Slow Gods by Claire North. So if you want to join us on that, probably should have mentioned that at the start before got into spoilers, but whatever, here we are. And then as of right now, The Forgotten Beasts of Eld by Patricia McKillop will be the May book, unless something changes. So anticipate that. I'm probably going to turn off the poll on the YouTube community channel post thing, whatever it's called, at the end of the day today. So I anticipate it's going to be The Forgotten Beasts of Eld. So Anitha, good job. That was Anitha's pick, I think. So yeah, so So join us for Slow Gods and probably Forgotten Beasts of Eld this month and next month, respectively. Simon, thank you for encouraging me to continue this book and not DNF. And by this book, I mean The Queen's Gambit. Thank you for encouraging me to continue it. It was well worth every single page. Excuse me, as I'm burping. And Chadia, I'm glad that you also gave it another try and liked it. And Chadia likes Mockingbird, so this is also promising for me because Chadia and I tend to have similar reading tastes. For the most part, I would say like 95% overlap. But yeah, so anywho, I got nothing else. It's been 40 minutes. Honestly, I talked for 20 minutes more than I thought I would with rambling. So, yeah. Any final thoughts? If not, we'll see you all next month. Let's see, what is the first Saturday in May? So, Slow Gods discussion will be the first Saturday in May, which is May 2nd. And it'll be around the same time, 11 a.m. in the morning. I might push it back to like 1 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, because I'll see if maybe potentially someone could possibly join us on screen. Or at least in the chat. And I know that they're on a later time zone. So we'll see. Yes, Malazan is the exception. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So so see you guys May 2nd for Slow Gods. I'm hoping I will enjoy it because Angela loves Slow Gods and I bounced off the other Claire North that I had tried reading. So we'll see. It's a sci-fi and it's gonna be cool. Oh yes, and happy Easter, everyone. I forgot it's Easter weekend. Or happy Passover. Happy Passover? Is that the sentiment? I can't remember. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. I'm doing the Midwest goodbye thing. Southern goodbye thing, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Thank you again, everyone, for joining in chat. Thank you for either reading, attempting to read, enjoying or not enjoying this book. I think reading is valuable regardless of whether you enjoy it or not, as long as it elicits conversation and feelings. So yeah. Anywho, again, continuing to do the Midwest goodbye thing. Thank you guys. Talk to you guys later.